We got a another week one series here for Group C. Between the second seed and the third seed, we have InstinctCK versus Cal Poly Division Two. It is our only series today, so I'm just by myself. But both teams are new to the league, so um, wanted to give them some screen time here. Um, so yeah, here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and show over the client so you can see our players today, and then give me 2 seconds to post a link, and we will start off with the draft. So we have on. So double check. I don't have these teams 100% memorized, so let's see. We have Instinct CK here on the Team 1 side. And we have Cal Poly Division 2 over here on the Team 2 side. So, looks like we got a fairly decent high quality lobby going on here. I mean, lowest ranks Emerald 2, so that's impressive. Sorry, there is a Plat 2. So, yep, Elo Hell is real, but I can respect it. I'm fighting it myself. And, yeah, let's see what we got here. Voice is low. Okay. Let me see if I can amplify that just a touch, but if not, I'll just speak up. Looks like a couple of these players have not joined the Midwest server, which I believe your first time. You have about, I think, a 10-minute wait before you can actually join, like a voice chat, or you can and not talk. So just small little delay on that regard. But while we're doing that, we can go ahead and take kind of a small review of this week's actions here. So that is our status so far with 3 series left to play, including this one. So after this 2 series tomorrow between Scorch and Insane Banana of Group A and T1 Tempest and Team Ghost of Group C. But all of Group B has played this weekend. Highly suggest going and watching all the series that we've had so far. I think all of them are up on the YouTube VODs. So, especially that Small Brain No Mechanics at Jellyfish series was an absolute treat to watch. So, but here we are starting in draft here. So, already seeing 3 80 carries getting taken away here in Jin, Jinx, and Ash, and then Caitlyn here. So, definitely targeting the bot lane of Cal Poly and a Nunu and Willem ban coming out from Cal Poly, along with an Ivern. So, a Avo looks like he's definitely getting targeted. Which, I mean, if he plays Nunu and Ivern, that's a very like unique champion pool. So, that actually leaves me pretty excited to see what he can come up with. Um, we've had some entertaining um, uh, entertaining jungle picks last split with like Shyvana's, and we've seen Shen jungle a couple times, and we've even seen like Kane with Funnel Yumi. So, but we see a first pick Kaisa, and then in response with a Sivir Nico. See if that Nico stays support or if it goes um, to mid lane, or even like could be some on hit tech Nico for top lane. So, but then Instinct responds with an Ornn. Ornn just a big beefy tank in the top lane. We've seen some Ornns pop off quite a bit, and we've also seen them get the late game and upgrade the items to give their team that extra spike in gold value. And then a Wukong coming out here, so being that it's already a short range comp here by Instinct, I think the Nico's just increases in value a little bit. We'll see again if it's support or mid Nico, but I think the Shen is a pretty decent answer, especially into the Sivir, or Nico could even be like a delivery system for Shen to some degree. So, but we have our top laner showing, and we have a couple of roles not showing, so don't expect any more AD bans since the 80 carries have been picked. Unless that could be like a kind of a throwback Kaisa mid, but I highly doubt it. Though it's not terrible into the Cal Poly comp showing right now. But we do see a Thresh coming out for the ban, and then Instinct's responds with Skarner. So I would expect Instinct to, 4-5 ban jungle here since they picked jungle. They want to pinch that pool. Cal Poly showing still a little bit of a flex lineup because we don't know where the Nico's going, but Thresh Ahri, pretty standard bans overall. Thresh just kind of overall just good in any meta, in any situation. And Ahri's just so good at just neutralizing lanes. We see an Udyr ban come out. Okay, interesting. So, a lot of creative junglers here. We hadn't seen an Udyr jungle. I think even thinking back to last split, I think we've seen it top, but not in jungle. So, I'm really excited to see the team comps coming out here. So, Lilia coming out by Cal Poly. Interesting. The Instinct having a short range comp. I think Lilia definitely has value here, especially with Nico as well. So they both can kind of set up each other. So overall, Cal Poly putting together a really nice team fight comp. That also has some value in pick as well. Ooh, Alistar pickup. I really like the Alistar. And Talia potentially. If that's the case, that might be our first Talia of the split. Or an Aurora. Aurora did go through some changes, but I believe she's a little bit on the weaker side. So, be interesting. I think we've only seen Aurora top. No, I'm sorry, Salt played Aurora mid in the series, but there's a Talia. Okay, so Talia coming out here. Interesting. I think Talia does zone off Shen quite well, but nobody else really has like dashes. They're all based on movement speed, so fairly interesting mid pick, probably just for comfort. And then we see a Nautilus come out, so that in fact will be a Nico mid coming out here. So all in all, I really like both team comps. I think Instinct's team comp responded much better with some of the picks in the engage that Cal Poly showed, but they have limited engage onto the backline here, and plus they have to walk through like Nico, Lilia, Nautilus to get to like the Sivir, which is also going to have the ability to protect yourself with a spell shield. So we'll see what happens here. I think Cal Poly has the tools to pick out some members here. But Instinct has good response for the engage, so we'll see what happens here.
Shall I turn in my badge and rifle as well?
Yeah, Clyde's a little touch loud today. So is Shen top? We did see Nautilus top a little bit last split, but I believe War Initiate was the one that played Nautilus top a couple of times, but he's now mid laner, so. But that's not to say couldn't see it. Couldn't see if Nautilus top or Shen support. I mean, we did see a Karthus mid yesterday, so. I didn't say you couldn't play a mid war. Just saying. We've had Nautilus top before. You were what, 2-1 on that? Like, Nautilus top was effective. Well, I mean, don't ask Dippy. But oh, someone picked it against you. Oh, that I do not remember. Cool. So, what, 2 and 2 on the split, 2 and 3 on the split for Nautilus top last split. Yeah, it's respectable. So since we have 2 new teams to the league, I assume we have some new viewers here. Yeah. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you guys can be active in the chat. I do, when I'm by myself, I do tend to like to talk with the chat a little bit, see how everybody's doing here, especially on a nice Saturday evening. Who you guys rooting for? Let me know which team comp you like, who you guys are here supporting, even if it's just players. Yeah, I'll give you guys a shout out. Used to fill for a team for an ADC. Okay, okay. So you rose Cal Poly for the win. All right, nice, nice. Hopefully the bit rate is fairly stable and hopefully everything looks nice and clear. Cal Poly wins these. Okay. Okay. I do like Cal Poly's comp. I think a touch more um, than Instinct's comp, but I think it'll be respectable. I think neither team uses grubs the greatest. I mean, Nico does use it quite well. Shen Shen can split push, but typically gets answered by mages quite easily. So I see Talia being able to keep Shen back and at least wave clear gets that push. So I don't think all in all the grubs are the most valuable thing here. We'll see what the early dragons look like. Both teams don't mind something like Earth Drakes to improve the tankiness. Both teams don't mind Hextech Drakes. Chemtech Drake is kind of indifferent. Um, so I think Chemtech might favor the Instinct side just a touch more, but we're splitting hairs there. And everybody likes Air Drakes. Everybody likes Infernal Drakes. So yeah, I think this is gonna just come down to what team gets ahead and allows their comp to do what they're designed to do, what the intent is. So yeah, I do think Orin was a very good response pick into the other comp. I mean, Orin feels like he's in just a really solid spot right now. Overall, I think Orin's been played twice or three times this week one, to my knowledge, and might have won two of those. I think he's got a pretty positive win rate in the league so far. I know it's super early in the split, but we have quite a big sample size with 18 teams. So seeing both supports, going with Ignite here. I think Thresh, the Aftershock, Alistar having the Glacial Augment is quite interesting. Come on, client. There we go. There we go. Alright. Chat on. Time controls off.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
And here we go. Some Group B action. Again, Instinct CK is on blue side for this game one.
30 seconds until
Cal Poly
minions
D2
spawn.
on red side for this game one. Both junglers, no pot. Nothing real wonky with the runes. So, looks pretty standard.
Minions have spawned.
Screen is black. Hopefully it fixed up. Yeah, took the client a sec to load in, and then for OBS to catch it. But looks like everything is good on my end. If someone wants to confirm in chat, make sure everything's good. Ooh, nice Q here by Shen, just to start this level 1 off really well. 2 grasp stacks, but Shen ends up taking Orin down. to touch below 50%. So he's already starting off his lane fairly well. Nico already starting the shenanigans with the Q poke. Anybody who's leaned against Nico knows that Q's really annoying. But Talia doing a good job of just getting push here on this mid wave. 5 out of 6, not too bad there. There's a hook coming in here from Nautilus, but then Alistar just ends up knocking Sivir back, so there's a trade and supports. But that's a level 2 coming out from the side of Instinct. But Kaisa W ends up getting tanked by a minion here. Got Nico hitting a really nice triple Q on to Talia here. Actually, I said the nothing wonky with the runes. We have a Conqueror coming out by Talia. That's interesting. So, see how that ends up developing throughout team fights. A small little 200 gold lead coming out for the side of Cal Poly. Let him cook. Yeah, we're gonna see how much cook. I'm down with it. I mean, it's not the worst thing I've seen people take on Talia. And I'm a spellbook enthusiast, by the way. Like I'm down with some of the cook. So, first Drake's gonna be an air Drake. I think that's going to be really, really nice for the Instinct side here, especially with Talia roams. Nice dodge shield there by Shen, dodging the brittle auto. So, not too big of a CS lead here, but Shen potentially getting first blood here. Nope, ends up being just a little short on damage here, but forces Orin to back here. Seeing Orin's going to TP back here. Just a refill and a ruby crystal, so that that's definitely gonna hurt the Orin's laning phase just a touch. We'll see. Solid barrier coming out here by Kaisa, just tanking a lot of the ricochet damage from Sivir. Lilia should have dove top. Yeah, top was definitely diveable. Definitely could have been a plan, something planned. Once he won that trade level 1, got him to 50%. I think you should already start talking about planning and diving when a trade like that happens. But, oh, we see potentially forced out a flash here by Talia. We see double ruby crystal coming out by Shen, so both top laners burning TP, Shen just having a slightly better back. So, Dragon's now up with Scuttle being taken by red side. Nautilus getting a really good deep ward here before he backs. Just really nice solid information. I think Nautilus is actually starting starting these Raptors here. So both these tanks just trading grasp stacks early on here. Grub's coming up here in about 20 seconds. See if any team wants to back, make a play for those. I think if I'm on the side of Instinct, just because of how much roaming Alistar Talia can do, I think the first Dragon's actually decent here. Like I said, I don't think Grubs are the biggest priority for each team. I don't think they use it that well, but nice headbutt pulverize coming in here onto Sivir, and then burns the ignite. Sivir had to flash away since from the Wukong follow-up, so good attempt at ganking the bot side here from Avo and Don Don. But now they're using this opportunity to ping up Dragon and potentially do it. And now we see our first lane swap of the split here. So, by the side of Cal Poly is doing this first Drake, Instinct is deciding to lane swap their duo lane top side so they can get these grubs here. So, interesting call here. Oh, Nautilus lands a hook here, but Talia ends up knocking Nico back, but that ends up being a first blood with Shen ulting the Nico just to make sure she's safe from the turret damage. So really, really nice first blood set up by Nautilus and Nico here. Wukong's looking to take some of that tempo since they back to get these grubs here. So we got one of them. Oh, decent knock up here by Ornn. The Sivir spell shields the Brittle auto attack. I actually didn't know that was something she could spell shield. So. And blue team decides to take all three of the first grubs here with that lane swap. Nautilus hook ends up going wide after the Shen taunt. Got a lot of pinks coming for this top side here, so here comes Talia roaming up top. So now we end up seeing a 3v4 fight here in the top lane. And Nautilus used the opportunity to flash out here. Wukong ends up diving in, but it looks like nothing is going to end up resulting from this team fight. So, and after it's all this said and done here, after this early game rotation and trade of objectives, we've got about a 600 gold lead for the side of Cal Poly. Which a majority of that being on this mid lane since I got first blood. There's only one kill so far here. It's actually been a super, super quiet game compared to what we've seen from some of the other series this week. So, pretty quiet the last couple minutes. See the items start to come out. Looks like both top laners are going to starting off their build path towards the Sunfire Cape. Shen coming up front here for a trade onto this Ornn. Again, both just trading grasp stacks. As they get tankier and tankier, they're just not fearing each other at all. So, CS is fairly even across the board, nothing major. So, much more calmer paced game than what we're used to seeing. So, really hard to freeze against the Sivir. Just the moment you let her have access to the wave, she just ricochets it and it's gone. So, Alistar tried its best to set up a freeze there. Oh, Stalia stops and Nico's back here. Nico's probably sitting on a full proto belt, I would assume, off this back. Yep, there it is. So. We got the second set of grubs here in about 15 seconds. Looks like Instinct is posturing to take those. Since they got the first 3 grubs, I think it's only right that they definitely put a lot of pressure to get the second set. But we'll see if Cal Poly wants to fight it or just go after the second dragon. Potentially looking like a fight here up in this grub area. And here comes Wukong's third team fight with Talia coming in. You see, oh, big knockup by Don. Don flashing in here. But here comes Nico to flash ult onto Talia here. Sorry, it was Porto Belt. So that ends up being a 1-for-1, sorry, 1-for-2 in favor of Cal Poly here. But Instinct did their best. They got the magical 4th grub that they needed to spawn the void spawns. So looks like they're just going to let Cal Poly get the next 2. And Avo's going to head towards Dragon here. See if he has any tempo towards it. So just about a 1,300 gold lead so far coming out. See, and they're diving Sivir, but Shenalt comes in here as he ulted down bot to protect Sivir as she flashed and barriered away. That was a massive shield that they could not punch through. So nothing ends up coming from that. Talia uses this opportunity to get a plate mid. It's nice. I think Wukong trying to save this wave here and posture Shen off of it, but he's trading health bars here, which is not ideal with this dragon coming up here. He's going to potentially have a dragon fight. He's at about half health now, so I don't know if he's going to be able to join this fight. He might have to dance his way around it. You have a big knockup coming out by Don Don. You have a TP coming out by Nico here, so Cal Poly looks like they already got the tempo and the setup here for this fight. That's a big hook coming out from Nautilus here. Orange kind of in the thick of things, and both carries end up getting hit by the Nico ult here, so big flash Nico ult coming out here. But Kaisa ends up taking Nico out from that. And all in all, it ends up being a 3-for-1 in favor of Cal Poly. And they're going to get the second dragon as well, so Kaisa did really, yeah, Kaisa played that fight really, really well, considering all that was going on here. You're seeing a really, really big impact coming out from these solo laners from Cal Poly. Like, Nico's had 2 really good ults during the grab and dragon fight, and then Shen ult has been coming in clutch as a delivery system, so coordination between Cal Poly looks really spot on right now. But you got Kaisa on 2 kills, fully completed, static shiv. All of the first items are starting to actually come out. Both tanks have now completed their heart steal, which I think is a feels bad because now both of them are laning into ranged opponents. But we see them, looks like they're trying to set up a gank on this Ornn here. Not sure if they have the damage to do that. Nico ult coming out here. They're slowly chipping away this Ornn. Nice play by Nautilus to wait on the Ornn W before he ults. And that's going to give Nico his 4th kill of the game so far. So 4-1 on this Nico, making a pretty big impact so far. Talia's second item, what do I think it should should be. What do I think it will be? Could be a couple of things. I think, honestly, it should be Leandry's. You have Leandry's coming out from Lilia. You have Shen building health right now, but not really much resistances. And Nautilus being tanky. I think Leandry's ends up having him die through it. And I see a mask coming out here, the haunting guy. So could be Blackfire Touch or Leandry's or Riftmaker actually. Actually, Blackfire Touch does not build out of that. We end up seeing a three-man gank on the bot side here, so they're attacking this Ornn quite heavily. They're giving him quite a few Heartsteel stacks and Grasp stacks, but overall, he's going to start falling behind the pace if they keep him down like this. And I think the main thing is keeping him down in experience as well, so the Ornn items are just going to be more and more delayed. But Instinct uses that pressure from bot side to drop Rift Herald and get the tempo top going. So we see Alistar coming out here saving the Kaisa. See, Talia looks like she's prepping a, yeah, here comes an ult coming in after the Sivir. Oh, big massive pushback here, but the Shen ult comes down, but Lily ends up getting two comboed with the Nico ult in the backline here, so really nice response coming out from Cal Poly. The Nico ult plus Lilia ult was a massive turnaround there after they seemed to have thought they caught out Sivir. Oof, yeah, that might be a highlight play we post later, because that was a very beautiful turn coming out of the Cal Poly squad. And we see Ornn looks like heading for trying to get a kill on this Nautilus here. Again, this Ornn ends up falling. Oh, but gets a shutdown onto the Sivir, so big bonk by Thor's Hammer there. That's actually like a pretty massive shutdown there. Get some solo kill experience to kind of help him get through it, but also, you know, gets that shutdown gold going. So, oh, here's a hook coming out by Nautilus here. It was unfortunate that Alistar dove through that Nico E to then make it do the extended snare onto Wukong, but it looks like, yeah, with that being said, Alistar's going to go down to this Nico. So that's a 7-1 Nico that's already building towards their second pen item, third item total. So this Nico is going to be able to dive the back line and do a boatload of damage, but Talia uses that tempo to get the turret top and get some comeback gold here. So that helps out quite a bit, but this ends up being third Drake over to Cal Poly. And they're now on Soul Point here. And Soul being Hextech is something I think they're going to enjoy having. Like the ability haste coming out for Shen ult, for Lilia ult, for Nico ult is fantastic. Sivir doesn't mind the haste or the attack speed. Actually, Nico doesn't mind the attack speed either. So we'll see what kind of response this Instinct lineup has as we're sitting here. 3 kills to 13, 21-minute mark. You see about a 2,000 gold lead out for Cal Poly. So while a big difference in kills, the gold lead is still like manageable. So you got Ornn hitting level 13 here soon. So he's going to upgrade his own item, and then at level 14, he's going to start upgrading his teammates' items. Risky headbutt pulverize coming out from Don Don there. That Nautilus hook lands. I think they look to potentially make him burn some summoners on the way back out. And he's got no flash, so he might have been Might have taken enough damage from the turret to threaten. There's another object bounty coming out here from Talia on this bot side. Gromp stacks. Are you referring to the Void Grubs? They have 2, so it's 4 in favor of Instinct, 2 for the Void Grubs. For Cal Poly, so Cal Poly has 2 Void Grubs here. So still respectable, but as you can see, these the 2 Void Grubs helping Shin get a little bit of damage on that turret, but not letting him take it down yet. So lead now is bloomed up to just a little over 4,000 gold lead here. We see a Riftmaker coming out by Lilia. I like the Riftmaker quite a bit. I think she's one of the few champions that uses it like very, very well. Here we go with the Heartsteel trading. So, but Shen's got his Sunfire cape completed here, so he's already on his 2nd item. And I think Sunfire was the right call here. He doesn't need much MR. Nice sidestep by Don here, but overall, I just think he's not long for this world here. And that puts Gyarados on this Lilia on a rampage. So it's 4-0 and 4 now. And now potentially they're looking to dive this Orin here. Orin doing what he can to get the minions out. This is a lot. This is a lot of Orin to knock out. Big stun so far. Oh, a massive takedown before he had a chance to take out Nautilus here. We see Wukong coming up, try to respond here, but again, there's 3 people up here. I don't think that's the greatest move in the world here. So they're doing their best to keep this Orin down here. That's now 4 deaths for Orin, all coming from solo lane deaths. So it's also interesting that Orin went Heartsteel Balmy Cinder and now building what appears to be a Force of Nature, which I do like the Force of Nature a lot. I just think instead of Balmy Cinder, he potentially could have went like Morden's Mail, so he's at least a little bit tanky coming through the Sivers damage here. So we'll see what ends up happening. So Shen now having a level up on this Orin here. They're both just exchanging grasping Heartsteel stacks during these pushes. So Orin does have TP. Shen has TP plus ult for this next dragon fight. And we have the next dragon coming up here in about 30 seconds. He's going Hollow Radiance. Yeah, I guess that's fair. I really don't think Hollow Radiance is great. Oh, but here they might have caught out Nautilus here, but Nautilus lock it. Oh, big ult coming out from Nico here. Massive ult. Wow. They thought they caught out Nautilus, but between Locket's shield, Aftershock, and Shen ult, they could not take him down. And then Nico flashes into the backline before Orin could even complete his TP. And he ends up hitting all 4 there and one-shots Eclipse on this Kai'Sa. Wow, what a massive turnaround yet again. I thought Instinct thought they had a pick and then didn't mark Cal Poly's jungle or mid laner in these fights, and they end up getting off like really solid ults. And we end up seeing Cal Poly actually taking both objectives. They end up 3-manning Baron and 2-manning this dragon to get Hextech Soul here. So that's soul point now for Cal Poly plus Baron. And what is a 3 kills to 19 game, 41,000 to 49,500. So about an 8,000 gold lead for Cal Poly. They definitely look like they're in prime position to take this game 1. Yeah, I was kind of looking to build as well here in the chat. Abel, like I don't understand like what Orton's building. I feel like he could have been on his second item by now. Even if the second item we could argue is not correct or not effective, like having that second item is going to be really good. I mean, Hollow Radiance, even if I'm not a big fan of it as a standard MR item, you can't doubt the wave clear here. But Nautilus ends up going forward, catching this Alistar, but then Nico ends up EQing this Kaisa and taking her out, and Nico gets another big ult here. And with the Ricochet coming out by Sivir, that ends up being a triple kill for Jubilee on this Sivir. Shen has TP, so this is probably going to end up being an end angle for Cal Poly as they take this game one on a very, very impressive mid-game performance, specifically coming out of Gojo's Nico. Had a bunch of multi-man Nico ults. Most of them set up by Gyarados' Lilia as well. So, that Shin Shield is massive. The being kinetic Ruker. Interesting. So, Cal Poly ends up taking game one off of InstinctCK. Let's check out our client stats here for a second. So, Talia ended up doing the most damage for the side of Instinct, followed by Orin here. So, a lot of damage coming out there. I assume just them getting ganked and getting split push kind of increased the damage numbers because the rest of the team really wasn't allowed to play the game that well, especially Wukong and Talia, like 0-5, 1-6. I mean, Don Don got caught out a few times, but as Alistar, your death numbers are going to be a little bit higher. But Gyarados' Lilia ends up being deathless in that game, and Nautilus as well, as much as he got caught out, not having a single death there. And look at the damage numbers on the side of Cal Poly. Like, they're pretty balanced across the 4 damage rolls as well. Shin doing almost the most damage is actually insane. So, a really, really good game one showing by Cal Poly. But Instinct, I mean, they made some really good solid plays too. I think they, in my opinion, probably misused the Alistar just a little bit. Like, the intent there was to be more of a peel bot and maybe punt away like Nico or Lilia, but he kept using it as more of an engage to set up plays, which is respectable as well. It pairs well with Kaisa. You get Kaisa passive on there, but you end up not having any way of stopping Nico from getting into the backline team comp there. So we'll see what kind of changes get made on the Instinct side. It would not surprise me if we see a change in bans as well, especially this Nico. He looked very, very prominent on this Nico here. So we do see a change in side selection. So Instinct, after dropping game one, they get side selection, and it looks like they're going to take red side here. So they're going to elect to have the counter pick for R5. So we'll see what comes of this. So let's move over to the draft here. So we already got a quick start in the draft for these two teams. So Cal Poly again getting rid of the Nunu and Willup and Ivern as well. So I highly suspect that their drafts will not change one bit, considering how dominant of a game one that ended up being from the mid game here. So Look to well, Instinct ends up banning the Ash, so this third ban for Cal Poly is going to end up being a little bit different. So we'll see if there's anything that they weren't happy with seeing. But Instinct having not banned anything different as well is quite interesting. So we'll see if they triple ban. They do. So we end up seeing a Nunu, Ivern, and that is a Kaisa ban here. And on the other side, Ash, Jinx, Sivir. So again, 480 carry bans, but Cal Poly ends up leaving, sees the Caitlyn open, so they end up taking the Caitlyn here. Which Caitlyn was banned in that game one. So with all these target bans on AD, I don't know these teams too well, but it seems like the AD carry is definitely putting up some impressive numbers, either in other leagues that they've scouted on, or just in solo queue in general. And for Instinct side, we see a Seraphine Tom Kench coming out. So we'll see if that Seraphine goes mid. I highly doubt it. I think it's going to end up going bot here for Instinct, which I think is a really nice adaptation here. The Tom Kench is really interesting because if this Nico gets locked in, like I think Nico thematically ends up answering Tom Kench because even though Tom Kench will end up ulting somebody and covering them, he's still going to get Nico ulted himself. So I'm not 100% sure how we feel about this Tom Kench here. I mean, if it ends up being Tom Kench top, I like it a little bit better because Nico Caitlyn are going to have a really hard time punching through Kench. I mean, Caitlyn can kite around a little bit, but once Nico burns cooldowns, it's going to be really hard to deal with it. So, ooh, Sarah, GG. Okay. So, I assume Instinct plays quite a bit of Seraphine, judging from the comment in the chat here. Viego coming out from Cal Poly D2. Interesting. Likewise, like, I don't think, oh, fair enough. Okay, Abel. Appreciate that. We see a Smolder end up coming out here, so again, kind of seeing a little bit of the flex picks coming out. Smolder, while you would not think would be a great answer into Nico, and it's certainly not like the end all be all. When Nico ends up Wing forward, Smolder can get multiple stacks off his W on it, or just can walk up with his E and Q Nico, and then kind of get out of the way before Nico can respond to it. So it's a lot more even of a matchup than one would think. But if it ends up being Smolder bot here, that's going to be a rough lane for Caitlyn. So still ends up leaving the flex open. We don't know where Seraphine or Smolder's going, or it could be Smolder Seraphine bot and a different mid lane pick. Just throwing that out there. So we'll see what Instinct wants to do with these first three picks, as they're not really showing too much here. But for our 4-5 bans, we end up seeing Lux Camille coming out for Instinct, and Senna coming out for Cal Poly. Yeah, it could be a four-way flex. So 100% agree here. Like they're not showing much, and if they're cooking, this could be a very interesting draft. I believe that's a Poppy. I could hover Poppy there for a second. Yeah, Poppy banned. Okay, so Kaisa banned here, Poppy banned here. As this draft tool is not the greatest one. Draft LOL is down, so it's been down for a few days. We prefer that one over this, but you gotta take what you can get. Xin Zhao coming out here. I really like Xin Zhao overall as a champion. You can play him with double enchanters, and the champion just um, feels invincible sometimes. It's like Olaf at his better state, but even better because ADCs can't damage Xin Zhao when he has his ult up. So I'm a really, really big fan of Xin Zhao. So we see Sejuani coming out for Cal Poly. So interesting. Oh wait, is that Sejuani? Sej is Mundo. Okay, so the Sejuani pick is Mundo. This will be slightly less confusing once we go into the client, and we'll see what they end up picking. Mundo is an interesting one because I think Smolder deals with Mundo actually like fairly decent out of all the AD carries. And a Rakan coming out, so we have a really another fairly standard comp coming out for Cal Poly with tank top, mage mid, really self-sustainable bot lane, and a jungler that can make plays. So we'll see what Instinct wants to pick here. Oh, and it's a Jax. Okay, interesting here. So that we still don't know which if it's Seraphine or Smolder going mid. Um, oh, Jax is Mordekaiser. I really hate this draft tool. So, um, interesting. We'll just have to make a little more sense of this once we get in client. So let's see. Let's go over this. So we have Mundo top versus Mordekaiser. You have Viego versus Zinzao in the jungle. Nico versus either Smolder or Seraphine in the mid lane. And then the other person's going to go bot with Tom Kench against Caitlyn Rakan. So I like Instinct's comp. I think Instinct's comp is a very nice response to it. I think there's a touch of scaling there, but I also don't think there's the greatest enchanters for Xin Zhao. Like I think if Xin Zhao ends up going in, there's a lot of innate CC that can lock him down during the ult, and when his ult drops, I think he does get blown up by Kate Nico. But if this Xin Zhao gets ahead, then I think it's gonna fare really well for him. Let's go over to client here so we can talk about this just a little bit more. And that's gonna end up being a Smolder mid here. Okay. Interesting. I think the Smolder mid is a better fit, considering what they're going against than Seraphine. I think Smolder bot and the Rakan Caitlyn just end up getting blown up, and he doesn't really stack that well. To where Nico, as a champion, thematically likes things to walk into her and likes to like punch back instead of being the one throwing the first punch. And Smolder is okay to be on the back foot as well, which if both champs are more back feet thematic champions, Smolder kind of wins that battle since he scales better. And I really don't see like there is tools to get on top of Smolder, but there's not much point and click in a sense of like Smolder can fly away from Nico, fly away Viego. I think Rakan has really good engage. But unless they like catch Smolder out with like a slow or a stun or snare or something of that regard, like, it's gonna be really hard to just front to back Smolder in say like a lane or even in a jungle if they're going into him. So we'll see. I like the Seraphine bot lane. I think the wave clear that champion provides can stabilize a game quite a bit and allow Smolder to get to 225, assuming Smolder's not like camped into oblivion and is at like 100 stacks at 20 minutes behind. But I think it's going to come down to this jungle matchup here. If Xin Zhao like just goes forward too much and tries to pick too many bad fights, then he can get blown up quite a bit. To where I think if the instinct comp just sits on their back foot and is just very patient and let their carries get into position, they can they can definitely dictate the team fights quite well. But on the other side, if the Cal Poly team finds really good engages on like really top priority targets, whether that means they like find a counter engage and outnumber similar to their response last game, or if they catch Xin Zhao early into a gank where he has to blow ult and the play gets called off, then I think they're really, really okay with that as well. So, kind of similar to last game. I think it's whichever team comp gets into position to do what they want to do. But you can kind of make that statement for any team comp, any game going forward. So this will be an interesting one here. I think Rakan has a lot better like roam potential. I think grub wise, either team enjoys grubs. Nico autos turrets quite well. If she pushes Smolder out, that grubs help. Mundo never really pushes back Mordekaiser, so he's not in a position for grubs. Seraphine, I think, pushes Caitlyn back, so she's okay with it early. But I think it's going to come down to these dragons here. I think if the first dragon's like Earth Drake, you definitely want to take that away from Mundo. Because if not, he already goes where he pleases. To where I think an early Earth Drake or Chemtech Drake onto the side of Instinct helped their team comp quite a bit. With the heals and shields that come out of Seraphine, I assume Smolder's going to take Fleet, so Chemtech will kind of help that throughout the laning phase. Ocean Drake will definitely favor Cal Poly a lot more, because they're the ones that got to weather the storm. So, and I'm also curious now to see what build Smolder goes. We've seen a Smolder mid earlier in the week, and it still went the Triforce build. I understand that with the Smolder changes, I think that build's a little more obsolete. I've seen Hubris into just flat AD items like Bloodthirster, Essence Reaver, um, or I've even seen like a couple still go like Shojin just for the CDR as well. So we'll keep track of that. I will do my best to keep track of these Smolder stacks as well as the game goes on. Okay, so we do have a Fleet Smolder, which I think is really, really nice. Only have 2 skins on the side of Instinct. Come on, guys, do better than that. And we see the Prestige Caitlyn skin coming out here, the side of Cal Poly. So see how that ends up going, because I have not seen that skin in game yet. Let's check this out. See Arcane Caitlyn come through. So looks like both teams are 5-pointing. I do like the Nico tech switching to Caitlyn, so she has a longer auto attack range. And like the last game, we see a 1v1 in the top side. Both junglers are coming up here, so we might see first blood here. Nope. I think once that Q landed by Mordekaiser, Mundo's like, I don't want nothing to do with this, so he ends up coming out. We see Smolder lost a touch of health, so maybe traded auto attacks with the Nico here. It has no stacks, so. Good point coming out by the Rakan pinging that there are 3 teleports for the side of InstinctCK. So we'll see who ends up coming out here. Who does who's everybody kind of like coming into this game here? So Cal Poly's up 1-0 on this series. They're on blue side this game. We have InstinctCK on red side here. They could lane swap a ton if needed. Yeah, they could. I actually low-key think Mordekaiser's like a really solid mid laner overall. But I also think if you say lane swap solo laners, um, Smolder stacks but doesn't really do enough damage, so Mundo's kind of like scaling for free a little bit. But if you're talking about bot to top, yeah, you could. I don't think Mordekaiser really enjoys lane swap situations. But maybe post level 6 if he can threaten the Caitlyn, or just threaten Rakan when he dives in, just ults him in his face and then runs him down. It's a possibility as well. Smolder could go bot, and Sarah could go mid. That's true, but I like Seraphine a little bit more into the Caitlyn. But yeah, if you're talking about later, yeah, for sure. I think getting Smolder through these early levels and maybe getting him to the mid game, then I think it's fine for him to solo. Don't know if I trust Cowboy's mid laner. He did a pretty good job that first game, man. Like, I'm surprised he's on Nico again. The Nico performance last game was pretty well. Oh, we have an early gank coming out here from Xin Zhao. See if he figures out which one's the real one. Nico ends up poking out this Smolder quite a bit, but we have a nice early roam here from Tom Kench. We see Avo coming up here, potentially ganking. Nope, he was thinking about it. Oh, Mundo might end up running down this Mordekaiser here. Oh, but he takes a turret shot, and there's a first blood coming out from Arctic on Mordekaiser here. So, had to burn Flash for it, but definitely worth it here. So, off to a much better start here for the Instinct lineup here. And I think that's the one member that you wanted accelerated here. Because I think if Mundo gets accelerated and pushes around this board, there's not much else the rest of the lineup can do for this to take care of this Mundo, or at least hold him back. So the fact that this Mord got this kill, got an early Blasting Wand, sitting on Blasting Wand versus double Ruby Crystal, I think is a really good sign. He's already starting to use part of that resource to push back Mundo here, so. Yeah, I see the conversation in chat. The only thing I can say is I wish my solo queue games were just somewhat organized and logical. But we see Mundo getting pushed back already. So he's got a little bit of a CS gap coming out of top lane. About even CS down bot side, mid lane. He's got a little bit of a CS gap coming out for Smolder. Well, we have just a spare second. Smolder's at 50 stacks right now, so Smolder doing quite well keeping up on the stacks. We have a dragon starting up here by the Cal Poly side, which they're just trading the grubs for. But I heard the Nico. Yeah, we do have a Nico ult coming down, and ended up getting dodged here by Smolder. So Smolder's now at this point where I think he's okay to just stabilize this lane into Nico and just stack. Okay. Had a little bit of a pause there for lag from the jungle side, but was a very quick pause. So yeah, I'm sitting here tracking some of the chat here. Yeah, if you want some introduction to like some organized play, Midwest League is a lot of fun. Don't take it too serious. No entry fee or anything like that. And yeah, join the server and see what kind of fun you can end up having here. So just keep an eye on out on like the sub board or something. Late in the season, if there's some teams that just need a sub, go ahead, play, have some fun with it. It gives you that like competitive taste without being like overly competitive, where people can be a little rude and somewhat toxic. You see Nico now getting pushed back from Smolder here. Like I kind of mentioned in the load up screen, when Nico W'd away, that gave Smolder an extra stack. Now we're sitting at 65 stacks here at 8 minutes, so we're looking on pace for about a 23 to 25 minute full stack on Smolder here for the execute. Not only is like the Midwest League, if you're thinking about joining, super just kind of like low key and like more of an introduction to competitive play. There's a lot of like really solid people and solid groups in here that if you just reach out to somebody and want just an explanation, a little bit of help, there's a lot of good quality conversations and knowledge in this league. So I joined it when there was a plat and below league and rec league, and had a lot of fun there. And unfortunately, we haven't had the interest in that skill bracket to maintain the league, but it's a sweat league, as we call it, or just a standard league. It's a lot of fun. This Mundo's getting pushed around now that there's fully completed Rylai's on Arctic. Viego should look to make a play. Back of his grubs. I think it's gonna be really hard for Viego to do a lot on this top side here with this Mundo. It's gonna be super worried about getting ulted. Nice dodge here by Gojo. But we see almost a 20 CS lead getting opened up by Smolder. He's taken 2 plates already on the back of these 3 grubs. So we're having Smolder's being allowed to do what he wants to do this early to mid game. There's not very many tools to gank him either. Pre-Bison wins versus Viego. I think so. Oh, but we have a big engage coming in here, but nice flash coming out by Caitlyn. So nice engage from the bot side here. Don ended up burning Ignite here to force Caitlyn's flash. So, we see Don end up backing here. Back got stopped. This Smolder is just stacking infinitely. There's nothing that this Viego can do. Let's see if Mundo has item on this back. If he does, then I think it's like he's okay to scale it. Oh, his back got stopped here. But see, some of the you still got about 20 CS lead. Oh, play coming in from Rakan here on this mid lane, try and attack it, but very, very good reactions here by Smolder. We see a dragon potentially getting started up here by Xin Zhao. So we'll see what ends up happening there. We ended up seeing Viego gets the grubs up top here, so it's 3-3 on grubs, which I think is a very good denial here based on the way this early game's going. So Xin Zhao ends up getting dragon, which I think all in all both teams are pretty happy with their first dragons. I personally think Hextech's a little bit better than Infernal. I think it just scales a touch better because haste is hard to find depending on your champs. But you know, all in all, either team is happy with the Drakes. This game's already over. I don't want to say that. Like, there's definitely some team fights we can see swing, but it's there's definitely a lot of pressure being put on this Cal Poly team to do something. Especially with the way that the Smolder is just stacking for free here. See, we're at 13 minutes. Oh, we see a ult coming in here, but Xin Zhao does a very good job protecting Smolder. Oh, the Nico W ends up stopping Smolder from the autoing here. But we see Xin Zhao ends up turning around. Oh, but Viego ends up getting the double kill here mid after eating back after taking Smolder and then ulting in. Very nice pop-off play for Viego here. So, nice 2v2. All in all, coming out for the side of Cal Poly here. Ends up evening the kill score and getting them back within 1,000 gold of this lead here. So, it's about 300 gold so far. We see the knockup just come a touch short here, but a Seraphine ult ends up getting extended by them and ends up hitting Caitlyn. We see Tom Kench ends up ulting Caitlyn here, and the Ignite almost took him down, but he ends up saving with the Grey Health Shield. So, nice 2v2 kill coming out from the side of Instinct, spot lane. See, Mundo ends up getting ulted but goes away here. But we got Viego coming up top here. Oh, flash feels bad for Mordekaiser here. So, we end up seeing, now looks like Xin Zhao's seen what happened topside. And just taking some of this bot side jungle. We see Smolders just end up clearing these waves, getting some multiple stacks. That's a first turret going back to Mundo here. So we see now Cal Poly with the gold lead for the first time this game. They're up about 800 gold now. But we see a dive coming out from Caitlyn. But we're starting to see a TP come in from Nico. But Nico, while TPing, took some damage from the Smolder here. So Nico not the healthiest. Smolder's going to use that time to push in and get some damage on the turret. But then Mundo responds to it, which Mundo's just going to start feeding Smolder some stacks. So, oh, but we see a dive coming out here from the side of Instinct. See what ends up happening here. Ends up seeing a good Tom Kenchel coming out to save Xin Zhao from turret aggro. But now we see Mundo going wherever the hell he wants to. Oh, nice escape by Rakan, but that got thwarted out by Eclipse the Seraphine here. And Instinct ends up getting this bot turret off of an extended dive, 3v2. Yeah, Mordekaiser ends up getting kind of caught out here, but Smolder is in the area here. Smolder ult's not up yet. See what ends up becoming of this. And Mordekaiser didn't even have a chance to press W there, so that's a killing spree started up by Viego. So Viego at 3-0-1. He's got 3 of the 4 team kills coming out here. And Mordekaiser starting off with that first blood, but ends up dying twice in 2 costly river fights here. Smolder stacks, yeah, we can check it real fast. Smolder is at, oh my goodness, 180 stacks by 17 minutes. Ideally, like, perfect stacking is about 10 a minute, but he's just slightly ahead of that. Oh, this Smolder is going to start popping off here soon. Mordekaiser just responded, TPing to posture for this dragon fight here. I mean, Smolder gets a really good fight in one of these chokeholds here. Like, he's going to end up being, like, north of 200 on these stacks. I think this game's going to come down to, can Instinct protect Good Boy on the Smolder here? Because he's stacking up a storm. We see Rakan ends up making the first move here, but Nico ends up getting a great 3-man ult, but no one's targeting this Smolder here, and Mordekaiser gets a really good EQ combo in there. So there's a triple kill coming out by Mordekaiser in the middle of all of that, and a quadra kill coming out here. And that ends up being a 5-for-0 ace for the side of Instinct. Cal Poly ended up making the first move on that fight, but just never went, I think, on a priority target. Smolder was left there just to free fire and splash Q damage plus ult. He had Mordekaiser ends up getting a really good, I think it was a 2 or 3-man EQ combo off. And was just in the middle of that fight doing a boatload of damage with his passive here. And Seraphine's, Seraph's Embrace stopped her from going down, and she got a really nice ult too. So, overall, a really, really good team fight here by Instinct to get them their second dragon. And we're going to end up having Mountain Drakes for the rest of this game here, which I think is, it can be a blessing, and it's a blessing and a curse here. I think if Cal Poly finds a way to win a team fight and stack up like 1 or 2 of these Earth Drakes, that just makes Mundo much, much more dangerous here. And even Viego, if, say, Viego takes Mord later in the game, Xin or even Tom Kench, but this is kind of in Instinct's wheelhouse to keep up the pace in this game. Now that they're up about just shy of 3,000 gold here. See what happens. Rakan has vision of what's going on, but don't know if he's going to be able to stop it. He dove in a little bit early here. We see an TP coming in from Nico. Nico does have ult here, so let's see if she tries to dive towards his back. She takes a bunch of residual damage from Tom Kench and Smolder. And Baron just showed up. I love the Unending Despair first item by Tom Kench, by the way. Super, super underrated item. And with 1, 2, 3 melees, kind of 3.5, because Nico's not the longest range. It's really a nice touch. We see that might be, with that line there, that might be 225 out of Smolder here. Yeah, that's well past 225 here. So Smolder now at this 225 stack here at the 20-minute mark. It's going to be a really, really tough uphill battle for Cal Poly here. So, CS-wise is a touch even. I think mid and bot lane for the side of Instinct has just a little bit of a lead going on. Looks like about 20 and 30 CS. But the 5 kills come out for Mordekaiser. You got 2 and 1 and 4 on the Smolder. Now on the second item. Seraphine deathless in this game. And the whole bot side of the Cal Poly map is 0 and 7 here. So definitely did not have the greatest laning phase in early game out of that squad. We'll see what happens here. Mordekaiser completing his Rift Maker, but we see Mundo getting enough gold to to get his Hollow Radiance here, so I think he's going to be able to push back this Mordekaiser, especially with a little bit of Q poke. He's actually... Sorry about that. He actually farmed up like quite a bit of Heart Steel and Grasp stacks, so this Mundo is insanely beefy here. Already at 4,600 HP. Holy cow, that's a tanky Mundo. These guys are backing on a ward here. Let's see if they can do something with this. Oh, they're TPing behind to potentially catch out maybe Tahm Kench. They're going to do what they can to try and catch this duo here out. It ends up forcing a flash out of Tahm Kench, but it just ends up getting traded for Rakan's flash. Plus TP coming out by Mundo, so... like, Cal Poly trying to be proactive and make something happen, but overall is not able to connect with any of these plays. Rakan needs to chill in and not start the fights. I mean, well, I would agree. Like, that's what they drafted him to do. Like, there's not really anybody else that are setting up these fights. Everybody's going to run away from Nico, so it's not... I mean, Nico can threaten a start, but she's overall, like, not a really good, like, primary engager. Nice moves overall by Poppy here on this Rakan, dodging a bunch of that. Good lord, that demolish damage. Oh, nice flash ult coming out of Eclipse here. We see Smolder execute coming out here. It's a double kill over the Smolder. Being set up from the bot lane of Instinct. And with that push top, Evo found a chance to do this dragon. So now we're on Soul Point here on the side of InstinctCK. Oh, and the Smolder just not really caring. He ends up flying over here. Let's see if they can end up taking out the Smolder. And they do. So it's a shutdown going over to Mundo here. I think Smolder flying over that wall was definitely questionable here. But we see Mordekaiser here. Let's see if he's going to ult this Rakan. Rakan ends up going over straight into Xin Zhao's lap. So that ends up being a 2 for 2 so far. Here's Tahm Kench ends up getting stunned out of his travel here, so Tahm Kench ends up going down. So that's quite a bit of shutdown gold going over to the side of Cal Poly here. Like, now they're only down about 2,000. Yeah, I don't wanna use words like throw, but it's definitely some questionable decisions coming out of the side of of Instinct here. Nico ends up TPing. They're going to use this tempo for Baron here. We got Seraphine coming in here. I don't think they're going to be in time to stop this. Like, Xin Zhao's moving up, but the Xin Zhao ult has reverse synergy with the Seraphine ult here. Here comes Smolder, though. Let's see if they can end up getting out of here. Viego ends up going after Seraphine and ulting away. So we'll see how this ends up going. Oh, Viego using some vision tricks there. That was clever. I still think he ends up falling at the end of the day, but... oh, he has Baron recall here. Oh, that was a really long flight by Smolder. I didn't think he could pull that off. See if he ends up backing here. Oh my god, Viego gets out. Nice moves from Gyarados on this Viego. Insane. That might get clipped. That might. I'm the one clipping it. That's getting clipped. So really, really nice moves to conserve the Baron there. And all in all, Cal Poly ends up getting this Baron here to help delay them a little bit. I don't think delaying into a Smolder comp is ideal, but like Yeah, you do what you got to do here. Mundo ends up just taking over this turret right in Smolder's face. And actually, Smolder's not enough for this Mundo. Mundo ends up going where he pleases. Yeah, he needed to run. And now Xin Zhao's going to try his luck. Let's not end it one by one into this Mundo, please. Mundo ends up taking 2 turrets. And now it's going to end up being a 2v2. Oh, and with the rest of the team coming here. And a shutdown going over the Viego. Look at the Cal Poly team just turning this game around. Like, now they're ahead by 3,000 gold. And with Baron, they could potentially push for an inhib here. I like the Nico clone tanking up a couple of turret shots, conserve some minions. But now we have Smolder coming in. Smolder loves these situations where you're pushing into him, but they got out just in the nick of time when they seen the Smolder ult. Yeah, this is becoming like a really good quality game here. As we do take a little bit of stock here. We're 12 kills to 15 in favor of Instinct, but we have about a 4,000 gold lead on the side of Cal Poly. But InstinctCK is on sole point here with an Infernal and 2 Earth Drakes. Smolder's at full stacks. I do like this Executioner's Calling coming out of Smolder. I think Seraphine probably should have gotten it a little earlier. I mean, Tom Kinch had it, but it's not too many people are just straight up autoing him. You also see Grievous Wounds coming out by the Mundo or Mordekaiser as well, so I like the InstinctCK lineup, like having multiple sources of Grievous Wounds coming out. So we see them. This Mundo just solo front. Big engage coming here by Rakan. And we see Nico trying to dive the back line, but didn't connect with as many people as he wanted to. And now we see Seraphine coming away here, but we see Smolder ends up off to the side here, kind of evening up this fight. So it ends up being a 3-for-2 for the side of Cal Poly. There's a Smolder R coming out here, as Mundo's trying to, like, just delay backs. And that's another kill going over to Viego here. We see Nico TPing mid to try and look for an end angle here. Wow, there's a really intense sequence going over there. About 4,500 gold lead, so all in all, respectfully even. We see the Earth Drake going over to the side of Cal Poly here. It's just going to enhance Mundo more and more. And we see the side of Cal Poly pinging this Baron, so I think our next fight's not going to be too long from now, as we see Baron coming up here in about a minute. So, Mundo taking a little bit of damage from the Smolder. You give Smolder enough time, she's going to chop down this Mundo, but it's going to be really hard overall for them to deal with this late game Mundo. It looks like Mundo's building the, it's not Adamo's Impaler, but it's like that version of the item. Blood Overmail? Bloodlord's Overmail, something like that. Not an item I build, so apologies for not knowing the name. But it just means he's going to do a boatload more damage here. I do like the build adaptation coming out from Viego, realizing that he's got to help like frontline a little bit here. So going Titanic, Sterix after the Kraken. We see a big ult coming out here from Smolder, but it doesn't really hit anybody. any of the priority targets. So now we're gonna see what rotations we see out of these teams coming up here, and that ends up Locket being used here from this Rakan. So see Smolder kind of splashing Q damage off the wave here. Smolder does have rapid fire cannon, so that helps out. We see Mordekaiser had to go down bot to deal with this, but we end up seeing Xin Zhao getting caught out here. Saved up by Tahm Kench. We see Rakan dive in, but ends up getting knocked out. Tahm Kench is continuing the fight going on here. And Smolder ends up taking out this Nico before the Nico arc can go off here. But we see them pinging the back, so we see Mundo. Oh, we see Smolder end up getting stopped here, so Mundo might end up backdooring? See, Mundo backdooring here. Seraphine's the only one here, so might see an end by Cal Poly. Oh, but the inhib! The inhib comes up. No way! Oh my god, the troll inhib. Holy shit. What an inhib respawn. No way. But Mundo ends up taking the inhib, and now we have everybody here. Let's see if this Mundo has enough damage to do this. I think he does here. Mordekaiser has ult, potentially. Oh, and Mundo ends up ending the game. Oh my, ends the game with 400 health. Holy cow, what an ending to this game. Wow. Wow, Mundo TPing in, ending the game, and then the inhib respawns. And Mundo's like, I'm going to go wherever I want to go anyway. Takes out the inhib, and then just knocks down the rest of the Nexus. Wow, what an ending to that game. And what looked like Instinct had the game like in their hands. They could do whatever they want. They had Smolder on a boatload of items and stacks. The rest of their team was doing quite well. They lost a couple of fights, but then ended up like winning what you thought was the main fight there, to then turn on to Baron and do that. But Mundo backing out and TPing in there to end the game. Wow, wow, wow! What an insane ending here for the side of Cal Poly. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, what an insane ending to that series. I'm going to try and reach out and see if any of those guys want to interview here. But holy cow, what a game. What a game. We'll give them another minute or two to respond here. For any of you guys watching the chat, if you know any of these Cal Poly members, please let them know. I'd love to get get just an interview over that, especially after that ending. Holy shit, what an ending. Well, not getting any any responses from them. So, all in all, like I like what I've seen from both teams. Cal Poly definitely looks very stable, very organized on their team calls. I think some of the engages, um, they have great intent. It's just a touch of like just the decision making on when to make the engages overall. But I do really like what I've seen out of those teams, both of those teams, honestly. So, um, but and then on the side for InstinctCK, I thought they adapted to the game one from the game one to game two draft really well. They picked a lot of better champions and did really good. Oh, we got the whole band here. Okay.
What up?
What's up? How are you guys doing?
Pretty
We're
good.
doing great,
That was an
honestly. We're
exciting
doing
game
good.
too.
Yeah, that was something here. So I believe all of you guys are new to the league, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do
That's
you guys
correct.
want to take just a second of just kind of introducing yourself? Just kind of what your tags are, what role you play.
Yeah, let's go top to bottom. Our top laner had to go, but
Of course he did. The
yeah,
man of the hour.
yeah, right.
I'm Gyarados. I play jungle.
I'm Gojo. I play mid.
I'm Jubilatory, and I play AD carry.
I am Sloppy Poppy, and I play support.
By the way, Sloppy Poppy, one of the better names of the league. I'm not gonna lie. I'm big fan of that one. So,
I appreciate it.
um, wow, what an insane series. I'm going to kind of just dig into game one a little bit. Specifically, Gojo and that Nico. I mean, whew, you had a lot of really like clutch engages. After they pulled the trigger quite a bit. How was those team fights and like what was the communication going into those?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you first of all. But honestly, like I was looking for flanks, and I don't think they were respecting my like flash as much as they could have. And every time I had flash up, I was looking just to flash ult. And I mean, when they group up like that, then I mean, I will flash in every single time. And yeah.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a lot of those opportunities like you created on your own with flashes and proto belts, but I can't fault or not shout out Gyarados on the Lilia as well. Like it looks like both of you guys found like the same timings, um, and then comboed Lilia ult with Nico ult.
Yeah, it
Um,
worked out super well.
yeah, um, but then kind of that game you guys turned on its head, especially in the mid game. Uh, there in game one, but game two, like you really challenged them. I felt like in the draft, like you picked very similar things with the Nico, and I mean you exchanged out the what'd you guys have first game? Sorry, you guys had Sivir. You exchanged it out for Caitlyn, which by the way, bot lane just absorbed so many bans this series. Um, but yeah, what was your feeling then, seeing that they responded with Smolder, and actually Smolder was doing quite well in lane. Like you had a couple of ganks mid where it just felt like Smolder had the tools to get away, and there was not really you couldn't find the opportunities as game one.
I think with Smolder and having Tom Kench as well, kind of put up a brick wall against our engages, so we were kind of playing with our backs against the wall, like kind of desperately trying to find engages and just forcing every position we could because going even against that team comp, we definitely couldn't beat them in late game. I mean, as it turned out, it was a crazy late game ending, but that was just macro. I think we just beat them in macro there at the end, but yeah, I don't know what anyone else has to say.
I think at some point, there was some time when it all clicked, and we just decided we have to pull trigger on something, and then we just decided to pull trigger on that Baron, and from then on, we were like every time, like we found anything, we were gonna take that play. We were forcing like as much as we could, just to try and get that end off.
Yeah, I noticed that quite a bit because it felt like the recon engages, like you guys were super quick to like get blown up and turn into a 4v5 on a couple of those mid game engages. Um, but it felt like you guys targeted in those last like two fights on like being a lot more effective on the engages, even though they tried to go for Baron and then you guys stopped him, and then Mundo had the wherewithal to TP in. So that, what was the comms like during that ending? That had to have been crazy.
We were all really excited. I know we were trying to when they were first on Baron, we actually saw them starting to reset, and I dropped a blue ward, and I was yelling at Gyarados to run at them and cancel their teleport in their recall. So we got some of the cancels off. I think we ended up canceling all of them, and this was right before the inhib actually respawned. So we thought we had it. We thought we had the win from that. So we all freaked out when the inhib respawned, and then I think it was actually Gojo who spoke back up and encouraged our top laner to run in and try and end, and he was able to get it, so it worked out.
Yeah, yeah, that was absolute insane. It felt so bad when the inhib respawned. I'm like, oh, they can't finish this, and the Mundo's like, the hell I can't. Like it's been noted if you watch some of the VODs from like last split, Mundo goes wherever the hell he wants to in this league. Like it's
Yeah.
that champion is just so nutty. And it felt like somewhat they didn't respect the Mundo pick enough. But no, overall like super exciting ending. I think it's a fantastic series. You guys end up taking a series off of one of the number one seeds in your group, so that starts off your regular season really, really well. So, happy to get you guys showcased in here. I really like seeing new teams just come and join and adding a lot to the league.
Well,
So,
thanks for having us.
Yeah,
We
thank you.
appreciate the
Yeah, thank you.
opportunity. Thank
oh
you.
no, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Actually, wait, looking at the in game's graph, like Mundo damn near out damaged the whole rest of the team.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I mean, it was a slugfest up top. I mean, most of the lane, and
I got,
so I
I
mean,
gotta,
there's some tanky boys up there.
I gotta think a third of that damage had to have been from the 2v1 he did on Smolder and Zinzao there until you guys showed up.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so, well, it was my pleasure talking to you guys. Like I said, congrats on the win, and congrats on joining the league here and putting up a pretty big statement win here. Be excited to see what you guys have going forward. Have you had a chance to look at the rest of the division yet?
We haven't actually, no.
Okay, okay. Well, I know you got Ghost vs T1 Tempest is playing tomorrow here. So probably see a couple of you guys in chat for that. But if not, the VODs will definitely be out by Monday, Tuesday, and we'll definitely showcase a couple of these. Maybe that ending in the Midwest Weekly podcast we do.
Nice.
So, but yeah, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Congrats, and we'll see you again next week.
Sweet. See you around. Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you.
Not a
Thank
problem,
Thank
gentlemen.
you.
And just like that, we have our Group C matchup between InstinctCK and Cal Poly. Goes over to Cal Poly in a 2-0, and what was a really exciting game 2 here. Think it's a little early to say game of the season, but it's a pretty entertaining one for here in game 1. So appreciate all the people that ended up showing up, and why is Slump so coded? All right, we'll save that one for the podcast if we can get them on here. But we appreciate all of the interaction here and all the chat entertainment here. Appreciate you guys kind of keeping me company and asking some questions. So, but hope everybody has and enjoys the rest of their weekend. And look out tomorrow. I believe we have 4, maybe 5 series. We have a couple of week 1 series finishing up, and I think a couple of early week 2 series. I know my series will be played tomorrow as well. So we'll see. Try to get an idea of who will be casting what series, and we'll keep you guys in the loop. Till then, have a good one.